everyone, back at it again with another video, and this time, as you can see, we're doing something a little different. I left the kayak and crawdad at home, the waders at home, because everything's frozen. I got my little ice sled, and I try to pack kind of light. You'll notice I'm carrying my sled, and if I packed heavy, that would just be tough. So that allows me to access some ponds and lakes that other people, they're just not willing to carry their sled or pack light, and it's too much trouble to get to. First thing I saw on the ice was a big pile of fur. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I really want to know. Now, I did check out ponds in this area before, and there's about 5 inches of ice. I'm still going to be careful and spud my way along. That spud bar is great, by the way. That's a Jiffy Mill Lax spud bar, the Cadillac of spud bars. First time I went out, I didn't even bring my auger. I just used this. And it chops holes through 5 inches of ice pretty well. Although at the end of the day, you'll start to feel it in your elbow and wrists and stuff like that, just from the impact. At least I do. So I'm just going to be careful and kind of spud my way along here. I can see tracks from other people already that have already fished here and presumably not fallen in. Plus, I know there's about 5 inches of ice. So we'll just take it easy, go slow, follow some old tracks, and see what we find. All right, the name of the game here is to find the weed line edge. It seems like I do the best right on the edge. And I have some old marks from previous trips, and this drill auger combo just flies through the ice. It's a Milwaukee drill and a 6-inch laser hand auger with a auger adapter. I forgot the side arm that's called that attaches to the Milwaukee drill. That makes a huge difference. I didn't know if I brought it or not, but I found it in the bottom of my sled. We're going to get going here. For bait, I just use a little piece of worm with a spoon. This is something new. I'll list the original idea was from another YouTuber, and I'll list that YouTuber's name in the video. I can't remember his name right now. But he had this contraption of PVC, and I tried it with some thinner PVC, and I found that none of my the butts of my rod would fit in. So this is 1-inch PVC. There's 2 6-inch pieces to form the T, and then the length in the middle is as long as you need for your rod. So this is a short little rod, so it doesn't need much space. And then there's 2-inch pieces of PVC. I think the original guy had 1-inch pieces. I went to 2-inch so it could grip the rod handle a little bit more securely. And there's just a 45 fitting and a 90-degree fitting. Like I said, there's the T connector there, and you're good to go. So I'm just trying that out. I found that the bigger rods, the rod butts, won't even fit in 1-inch PVC. I guess I could have measured everything beforehand. That would have been smart. So you could either take out that little section of 2-inch PVC and just put it right into the fitting, or I might try 1.25 inch PVC. The other thing I could do is just sand a little bit off the butt end of those cork rod butts. That would work too. All right, here we go. I got my spoon, I got my worm. Let's go find a hole to fish. That little block of wood is my underwater camera for recording. And spoiler alert, it didn't record a single thing. A little bit of technical difficulties there. So this is just going to be the top side view today, but I will get that underwater camera figured out. And I got my first fish. The camera I'm holding is a great camera. It's a underwater camera from Amazon, and it's sort of like an AquaView, but much cheaper. It's handheld, it's colored, and it works great. I've dropped it. The only thing I don't do with it is record. The recording part is a little bit cumbersome. So that's what that other video camera in the water is doing, or supposed to be doing. So I've got 3 lines in a single hole, which is a little bit too many lines. I've got my fishing line, I've got the recording line for the underwater camera, and I've got the underwater camera in my hand so I can see what's going on and see what I'm recording. So it's kind of a mess. And if I wasn't filming YouTube videos, I wouldn't fish this way. I would just, I would just have that underwater camera in my hand. See, there's the AquaView Strike View. I'm all tangled up. It's a giant mess. I do not recommend this for fishing. But when the AquaView Strike View works, it does get some awesome video. They're really designed more for trolling. So you attach a lure to the wire lead that's coming off the AquaView Strike View, and then troll it behind the boat, and you get some cool footage of fish attacking spoons and whatnot. Uh-oh, I just broke off. That's not supposed to happen. So I'm going to fish through my spoon box. You can fit a ton of spoons in a little Plano micro box. And I have this thing loaded. So it's annoying to break off a spoon, and I probably should have retied from earlier being tangled up with all those other lines. But I didn't, and I paid the price. So I fished with a little dual lock snap. And that is a Leech Flutter spoon in I think it's a Glow Tiger color. I did really well with that spoon last year, so I've been fishing it a lot, even open water. And it really does, like the name implies, flutter on the way down. It has a much more of a flutter than other spoons, which, maybe they're better for deeper water. Like I'm thinking of a Haley spoon. That thing just flies to the bottom, and it doesn't have much flutter at all. So if you are trying to get to depth fast, Haley spoon is hard to beat. If you are fishing shallower water or you want some more flutter, more attraction, this Leech Flutter spoon is great. And then in the middle, I would put something like a Castmaster or a Swedish Pimple. They don't have as much flash and flutter as the Flutter spoon. They don't get to the bottom as fast as a Haley spoon. But for general all-around fishing, a Swedish Pimple and a Castmaster with a single hook and some bait, those are just classics that work everywhere all year round. I'm drilling some more holes, and with that arm bar there, the side arm, just flies through the ice. I mean, just a few seconds per hole for 5 inches of ice, and that's all you need. Hey, what's this? It's another little bass. They're not going to win any prizes, but I'm happy to catch just about anything this time of year. And they do put a good bend in that little ultralight ice fishing rod. There he is. I don't know, maybe a pound. Did you see that? See that fish hit the lure? You can see it in the rod blank. That's what is that? That's a 34-inch extreme taper ice rod. It's a glass rod that I built. I built it with fly guides, oversized fly guides, so it resists icing up. And it's just great. It has a great bend. That extreme taper is no joke. But it's glass, so it's soft. Keeps the fish pinned really well. I've built probably 6 of these rods now. And every single one of them is still in the lineup. The glass rods are really durable. And I've caught everything on them from, panfish to small lakers, cusk, bass, all kinds of white perch. And there's some more fur. I don't know if somebody was out here brushing their dog or what, but you never know what you're going to see out. I see all kinds of weird stuff. Ice fishing, and in my kayak, in my crawdad. Another little bass. I don't know what it was, but the bass were pretty fired up on this trip. I must have caught half a dozen, and they're all cookie cutter. I'm guessing they're males, little buck bass, and they're all in this same size class. Yeah, about a pound, I'd guess. I wonder what the size of the fish that broke me off was. I mean, I could see him on camera was a bass, and he looked a little bit bigger than some of the others, but I really shouldn't have broken him off. He wasn't a giant. See how fast the auger slides through the ice? With that sidearm, you have a lot of control. See that at the end? There's a little bit of a kickback. Some modern drills have a feature that prevents that. I've got an old version, so I just have to be a little bit careful with the kickback there. Got another fish. What's this? I think it's a bluegill. Yeah, another bluegill. Oh, I dropped that underwater camera, and the protective cover came off of it. I tried to catch it with my foot. Those old soccer skills coming back. And I just put it back together and it worked. You know, that thing is, I don't know, that thing is tough. As long as it keeps charging. I had an older one that was black and white, and it lost the ability to charge, and I had to get rid of it. So I think that's probably the weakest link there. This is an inline reel, a Piscifun inline reel, and it was giving me a little bit of trouble. The line, I was fishing with 2-pound tests trying to finesse some of these panfish, and they were all about it. Once I got a lure in front of them that they'd eat, they were all over it. And that's a trick, you know. Sometimes you think that the fish aren't there, that they're not biting. You drop down to 2-pound test, and you can get a bunch more fish. And that might be the best sunfish of the trip. Yeah, nice and thick. There he is. That's a nice sunfish. The smaller rod fits right into that 1-inch PVC. And as far as I can tell, that T will keep it from falling into the hole. I kind of tried to mush it into the snow a little bit just to get a little bit more purchase on the snow. And so far, so good. And I've got a longer one for longer rods, like that 34-inch extreme taper glass rod I was talking about. You can buy those blanks from Sportsman's Direct and make them yourself. And they're only, I don't know, $3 or $4 or $5 for the blank. They work great. The rod I'm fishing with now is an older Fraybill Sensitive. I don't think they make it anymore. I still have 2 of those. And for production rods, they're pretty good, but the guides are small, so you can only really fish it outside on warmer days like today. Otherwise, those little guides will freeze up. So when I make the rods myself, I always oversize the guides, and that's because whenever I can, I'm going to be fishing outside, unless it's just ridiculously cold and everything ices up immediately. See how many fish I'm catching out of this hole after they stop biting the spoon? I'm fishing with a 1/32 ounce tungsten Mongo jig. The 1/32 ounce is the minimum weight that I can use to get that Piscifun reel to gravity drop. Otherwise, I have to pull out line. But the problem I was having with the Piscifun reel is that the line kept sliding in between the spool and the reel. And then it would wrap around the internal machining parts of the reel and jam. So sometimes I go back to the spoon. Sometimes I try to cut away the line that was wrapped around the spool of the inline reel. And yeah, I think I'm just going to have to retire that inline reel. It's just too much trouble for what it's worth. It's supposed to eliminate the spin, and spin for panfish, especially fussy panfish, can be really important. But it doesn't completely eliminate it. It reduces it, but it doesn't eliminate it. Now, spinning reels like this, they're always going to have some inherent line twist. But I seem to manage with the spinning reels fine. And the inline reels are giving me trouble. So I think for this season, I'm going to retire the Piscifun inline reel. Back down the hole you go, and just stick with spinning reels. And as long as they eat the spoon, I'm in business. And I'll keep a noodle rod or a super ultralight rod ready to go with a little tungsten jig, and just fish it on spinning gear this year. But the spoons work, and I got into a little flurry of them towards dusk. So here you can see the Piscifun reel is all buggered up. I got line going every which way. And I think this is avoidable if you're very, very careful and pull the line out in a slow, methodical way such that it doesn't have any backspin. But you just have to be very, very careful. And I think really it's a design flaw. So after this, I cut off all the line, retied. It happened again. And yeah, I don't want to spend my time out on the ice fixing this reel or other inline reels. And I think if the machining was a little bit tighter, or if I was fishing with maybe 4-pound test. So the problem really is I'm fishing with 2-pound test on this reel, and for me this is what it should do well. You know, light jigs, light line, fussy panfish, controlled drop speed. I'm stopping the bait before it hits the bottom. It's spinning less. Everything is about finesse for me for this reel. That's what the real purpose should be. And so I want to fish with 2-pound test, and as this video is showing, I just can't. And I don't know what to do about it other than maybe fish heavier line or try another inline reel. But yeah, this just wasn't working for me. So that took me forever to get sorted out. But eventually I did, tied on the same jig. I'm back in business, catching fish. My drag's a little bit loose since I had to take everything apart. Got to tighten that drag up to get the fish up in the air. There he is. Another bluegill. But it wasn't too long before the same problem happened again. The line slipped through the spool and the reel itself. And now I'm doing this again, and it's almost dark and it's cold and my fingers are freezing. It's just not how I want to spend my time on the ice. So after fixing that reel for the second time, I decided I'd had enough fun for today. I'll go home and edit the footage, check out my underwater footage, which didn't work out. I'll fix that though. And I decided I'd just call it a day and pack it up. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Just like all my other videos, I'll list all the gear in the video description so you can duplicate what I was doing out here today and hopefully have some good ice fishing success wherever you are. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!